The night on the alien world was cold, too cold for any normal traveler. Sharp winds moved through the tall blue trees and made a low, hollow sound, like someone whispering through broken glass. Evan Walker, a human single father, pulled his jacket tighter as he walked. His small flashlight cut through the darkness, but only a little. He had lived on this colony world for 3 years, and still the forest made him uneasy. There were strange lights, strange plants, strange sounds. But tonight felt different. Tonight felt wrong. Evan kept walking along the narrow dirt path, thinking about his son back home. He wanted to reach the village fast, finish his work, and return before midnight. The forest was not safe after dark. Everyone knew that, but he had no choice. Work was work. Then he froze. Ahead of him, in the middle of the path, someone was sitting, a small shape, very small. Evan lowered his flashlight. It was a girl, a little alien girl. She sat with her knees pulled close to her chest, arms wrapped around them. Her skin was pale silver, and tiny blue dots glowed faintly around her eyes. Her hair looked soft and white, almost floating in the gentle wind. Evan looked around quickly. Children never came this deep into the forest. Not at night. Never alone. He took a slow breath and stepped closer. "Hey, are you okay?" Evan asked in a calm voice. "Where are your parents?" The girl lifted her head slowly. Her eyes were large, bright, and a bit too reflective, like they were catching light that wasn't there. Her voice was soft, almost like she was afraid to speak too loud. "My mom told me to wait." That was all she said. Nothing more. Evan felt a small chill in his spine, though he didn't know why. Maybe it was the way she said it. Or maybe it was the way she looked past him, like something behind him was more important. He crouched down to her level. Wait for what? Is she coming back? Did she go somewhere? The girl looked down at her hands and shook her head. "My mom told me to wait," she repeated, like a machine stuck on one line. Evan frowned. Something was wrong here. He looked around again, shining the light into the trees. The forest was too quiet. There were no night insects, no bird calls, nothing moving in the branches. Just silence. "Okay," he said softly. "Can you tell me your name?" The girl hesitated. Her lips parted a little, like she was about to say something important. But instead, she answered quietly. "Lyra." "Lyra," he repeated gently. "I'm Evan. And right now, you shouldn't be alone out here. It's not safe." He reached out a hand to help her stand, but stopped. Her feet were not touching the ground. She was floating, only an inch or two above the dirt. Not jumping, not struggling, just quietly, naturally hovering. Evan's breath caught in his chest. "Lyra, do you know you're floating?" She looked down, confused. Her tiny feet gently lowered and touched the earth again, as if she hadn't noticed at all. "I do that sometimes," she whispered. "Mom doesn't like it." Evan stood up slowly. His heartbeat was louder now. Something about this child was not normal, more than just alien, something strange, something powerful. He opened his mouth to ask more, but the girl suddenly stiffened. She lifted her head sharply and stared past Evan's shoulder, right behind him. Her eyes widened with fear. Evan turned fast, shining the light toward the trees. Nothing. But then he noticed something. The trees had marks on them. Large claw marks, deep and fresh, cutting through the bark like the trees were paper. Evan stepped closer. The marks were at least a meter long and looked like something big had passed through here recently. Very recently. Evan's chest tightened. He knew these marks. The village told stories about creatures in the forest. Fast, silent, deadly. Most people called them shadows. They were never seen clearly, but everyone found the marks they left behind. He stepped back toward Lyra. "We need to move," he said firmly. "This place is not safe." But Lyra didn't move. She kept staring behind him. "Lyra," Evan repeated. "Let's go. Come with me." "The gate is waking up," she whispered. "What gate?" Evan asked. She slowly pointed to the side of the path. There, partly hidden by trees and glowing blue vines, was something Evan had never noticed before. It was a stone arch, ancient-looking, covered in symbols that pulsed faintly with blue light. The air around it felt warm, like the world was breathing. And under the arch, the inside of the doorway seemed dark in the forest itself, like looking into a hole where light refused to exist. Evan felt his stomach drop. The villagers had spoken about an old place in the forest that nobody should visit, a place the aliens treated with fear, a place humans were told to avoid. But Evan never believed the stories. Now he wished he had. Lyra stood up slowly, still staring at the arch. "My mom told me to wait," she said again, but this time her voice trembled. She said not to go through the gate. She said it only opens when someone is close. Someone like me. Evan swallowed hard. "So you're waiting for her to come back?" Lyra shook her head. "I'm waiting for someone to help me," she whispered. She said a human would come. She said his heart would be strong. Evan froze. Lyra lifted her gaze to him. Her eyes glowed faint blue now. She said his name would be Evan. The forest wind stopped. The blue symbols brightened. And behind the gate, something moved. Something big. The forest did not sound the same after the gate awakened. Evan felt it first, not through his ears, but through his chest. A small vibration, like a heartbeat that didn't belong to him. Lyra felt it too. She stood completely still, eyes half closed, as if listening to something deep underground. Evan touched her shoulder gently. "Lyra, we need to leave." She didn't answer immediately. She looked too calm for a child in danger, too focused for someone her age. Her silver skin reflected the faint blue glow from the symbols on the stone arch, and her hair seemed to lift just slightly, as if the air around her had changed. Finally she spoke. "The forest is speaking," she whispered. Evan looked around nervously. "Speaking? To who? To me?" Then she added in a softer voice, "And to the gate." This made no sense. But Evan could feel something too, an energy in the air that felt old and heavy. Not evil, not good, just aware. He crouched in front of her. "Lyra, listen. We can come back later, with people who can help. Right now, this place is not safe. It is safer than what is coming," she said calmly. Evan tensed. "What do you mean?" Lyra pointed at the trees behind them. He turned fast. The claw marks he saw before now looked deeper, longer, more of them, and some of the trees were shaking lightly, though there was no wind. Something had been moving through this forest for a long time, but now it was close, very close. Evan grabbed Lyra's hand. "Come on." But she didn't move. Her small fingers squeezed his. "If we go the wrong way, it will find us." Evan felt a cold sweat forming on his neck. "How do you know that?" She tilted her head, listening again to something only she could hear. Because under the silence there were sounds. Slow, dragging steps. Heavy breathing. Something huge shifting through the thick bushes. Then Lyra said something that made Evan freeze completely. "It is not breathing like an animal. It is breathing like it needs air for the first time." Evan swallowed hard. "What does that mean?" "It means it is waking up too." Before Evan could speak, Lyra pulled his hand and led him toward the left side of the forest. Not toward the path, not toward the village, but deeper into the trees. "Lyra, this is the wrong way. The village is behind us," Evan insisted. "The village is not safe," she said simply. "Not tonight." Evan's heart dropped. What is going to happen tonight? Lyra looked up at him with those bright, reflective eyes. "The gate did not open because I was near it," she said. "It opened because I was followed." Evan stopped walking. "Followed? By what?" She looked scared for the first time. "I did not know at first. The forest tried to hide me. But the thing that woke up, it wants something inside me." Her voice trembled slightly, but she kept walking, and it wants it now. A different forest. As they moved deeper into the woods, the environment slowly changed. The trees became taller and darker. Some of them bent toward the ground, as if they were bowing. The air grew warm, sticky alive. Evan hated every step, but Lyra seemed to know exactly where she was going. They reached a small clearing with glowing white flowers shaped like spirals. A light mist floated above them, moving gently like water. "This place knows me," Lyra said. "The forest?" Evan asked. "Yes." My mother brought me here sometimes. She said the forest remembered old things. It remembers the first people who lived here and the things they made that should not wake up again. Like the gate? Evan guessed. Lyra nodded slowly. Evan rubbed a hand over his face. No human training manual prepared him for this. He was a builder, a father, a normal man. Not a soldier, not a scientist, not a hero. But here he was, protecting a floating alien child from a creature that learned how to breathe tonight. This was not how he expected his week to go. Lyra speaks the truth. They sat near the glowing flowers for a moment. Lyra, Evan said softly, your mother, where is she? Lyra hugged her knees, just like when Evan found her. She is lost between worlds, she whispered. She tried to close the gate from the other side, but something happened. Something touched her, and I felt her fear. Her voice broke a little. She told me to wait. Not for her. For help. Evan felt a heavy weight in his chest. And you think, I'm that help? Lyra looked straight at him. No, I don't think it. She touched his hand. I know it. Before Evan could answer, a deep sound rolled through the forest, like thunder underground. The glowing flowers dimmed. Trees trembled. And from far behind them, echoing through the darkness, came a long, slow, unnatural growl. Lyra grabbed Evan's hand tightly. It found the gate, she whispered, and now it's following our scent. Evan stood up fast. We have to move. Lyra nodded. Yes, but there is something I need to show you first. What? She pointed ahead. Through the trees, a faint silver light flickered. Not natural, not from the gate. Another place of the old ones, Lyra said. A place my mother never let me enter. Why not? Evan asked. Lyra looked up at him. Because humans are the only ones who can open it. Evan's blood ran cold. The creature growled again, closer this time. Lyra stepped toward the silver light. Evan, the forest chose you. The silver light flickered between the trees like a quiet heartbeat. It wasn't bright, but it was steady, glowing in a way that reminded Evan of a lighthouse in the dark ocean. Only this light did not warn ships. This light warned worlds. Evan followed Lyra, his steps silent, his breath slow and controlled. The creature behind him was still far, but not far enough. Every few minutes, a low, rumbling growl shook through the forest floor. Leaves fell, branches cracked. The world felt like it was holding its breath. Lyra never looked back. Her small hand stayed firm in Evan's. She walked like she knew exactly where to go. Evan wished he had the same confidence. They reached a wide clearing, circular and perfect, as if shaped by hands, not nature. In the center stood a tall metallic pillar, covered in silver plates and tiny symbols. It looked ancient, but somehow still alive. A pale ring of light flowed around its top, spinning slowly. Evan stared at it. What is this place? He whispered. Lyra stepped forward. This is the echo pillar. It listens. It remembers. It chooses. Evan frowned. Chooses what? Who can enter? Lyra said softly. Who can change what is coming? The moss under their feet glowed lightly, as if reacting to their presence. The air tasted like charged energy, the kind that made your skin tingle and your heart beat a little faster. Evan approached the pillar slowly, feeling a strange pull in his chest. Something about the place felt familiar, even though he had never seen anything like it. How do you know humans can open it? He asked. Because the forest told me, Lyra said, and because my mother said the old ones trusted humans more than they trusted us. Evan raised an eyebrow. Us. Aliens, Lyra said. My people. Evan looked at her carefully. Why would ancient aliens trust humans more than other aliens? Lyra's eyes softened. Because humans break rules, she said, and the old ones value beings who could think different, beings who did not fear change. Evan almost laughed. Humans breaking rules? Yes, that sounded right. But before he could answer, a sound tore through the clearing. A sharp, painful screech. The creature. Closer. Lyra grabbed Evan's arm. You need to open the pillar. Now. How? Evan asked. Lyra pointed at a smooth silver plate shaped like a hand. A human hand. Evan stepped forward, heart racing. He pressed his palm against the plate. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the pillar reacted. The symbols lit one by one, racing upward like silver flames. The floating ring above the pillar spun faster, humming with energy. The ground vibrated under their feet. Lyra watched with wide eyes. "It is opening," she whispered. "It knows you." The pillar split in the middle, unfolding like petals of metal. A bright tunnel of white-blue light appeared inside, swirling gently. Evan stared into it. What is in there? Lyra stepped beside him. Answers. He felt a cold shock in his spine. And dangers, she added. Old ones leave gifts, but they also leave tests. Evan swallowed hard. What kind of tests? Before Lyra could respond, the forest behind them exploded with movement. Trees shook violently. Branches snapped. A massive shadow sprinted through the darkness. The creature was almost here. Lyra's face went pale. Evan inside. Now! Evan pulled her close and rushed into the glowing tunnel. As soon as they stepped in, the metal petals behind them folded shut. The sound of the creature slamming into the pillar echoed through the bright space inside. Boom, boom, boom. The creature was trying to break in. Lyra held Evan's hand tightly, but her voice stayed calm. It cannot enter. This place does not accept monsters. Evan finally looked around. The inside was nothing like the outside. They stood inside a giant circular chamber. The walls were smooth silver, covered with thousands of glowing dots, like stars on a map. A floating sphere of light hovered in the center, humming softly. It looks like a star room, Evan whispered. It is a memory room, Lyra replied. A place where the old ones store their knowledge. Suddenly the floating sphere shifted, projecting shapes into the air. Evan's eyes widened as he saw maps of the planet, images of the stone gate, glowing symbols moving like living creatures, and a strange silhouette with eyes like burning void. Lyra stepped closer, studying the images. The old ones created the gate, she said, but they feared what it connected to. The sphere focused on an image of the gate. Symbols flashed rapidly. A soft voice began to speak, not in words, but in tones and pulses. Evan looked at Lyra. Can you understand it? A little, she said, edging closer. It says the gate was not a door. It was a barrier, a wall between this world and a world full of hungry things. Evan felt a chill down his spine. And the creature outside? He asked. Lyra nodded slowly, eyes trembling. It did not come from our world. It was trapped behind the barrier. When the gate woke, one of them escaped. Evan clenched his fists. That thing is hunting you. Why? Lyra looked at him with fear that seemed too old for her young face. Because I am part of the key, she whispered, and you are the other part. Evan stared at her in shock. What does that mean? Before she could answer, the sphere dimmed suddenly. A deep vibration spread through the chamber. Then a new projection formed. A tall alien woman. Lyra gasped, Mom, but the image flickered violently, like something was corrupting it. The woman's voice came through in broken pieces. Lyra, don't trust the gate. Find the human. Close before. The projection shattered into light fragments. Lyra covered her mouth. Tears filled her eyes. Evan knelt beside her. Lyra, it's okay. No, she whispered. It is not okay. If the message broke, it means the creature reached the core of the gate. It is learning. It is adapting. Soon it will not need the gate at all. Evan stood up, determination burning in his chest. Then we stop it. Lyra looked at him with wide, fearful eyes. How? You don't even know what it is. Evan took a deep breath. No, but I know this. He placed his hand firmly on the glowing sphere. I'm not letting anything hurt you. The chamber lit up like a second sun, and something ancient woke in response. The chamber brightened the moment Evan touched the glowing sphere. Light raced across the metal walls like lightning trapped under the surface. Lyra stepped back, eyes wide, as the floating sphere changed shape, becoming larger, sharper, almost aware. Evan felt something pushed gently into his mind. Not a voice, not words, just a feeling like a door opening inside him that he never knew existed. Lyra whispered, "The memory core is responding to you. It only does that for someone accepts." Evan didn't feel honored. He felt terrified. The sphere projected images again, but this time so fast it hurt to look. Flames rising from a broken world. Massive shadow creatures tearing through the sky. Tall ancient beings with glowing eyes sealing the gate. And a symbol glowing bright white, a hand beside a star. The images stopped abruptly. Lyra placed her small hand on Evan's arm. "It wants you to see something more." The floor under them shifted gently, forming stairs that led downward into a circular passage. The air coming from below was warmer, thicker, like the breath of a sleeping giant. Evan hesitated. "Are you sure we should go down there?" Lyra nodded, though her voice trembled. "That is the heart chamber. It has the full truth. My mother searched for it, but never reached it." Evan swallowed hard. "Why not?" "Because only humans can open the path," Lyra whispered. "And the old ones designed it that way." That made no sense to Evan, but he didn't have time to think. Behind the closed entrance, the creature let out another roar, closer, louder, almost intelligent now. They walked down the smooth steps into a deeper chamber, round and huge, like the inside of a metallic planet. The walls were covered in panels shaped like feathers, each glowing with faint blue lines. In the center stood a massive stone table surrounded by floating symbols. Above the table spun a black orb, small but impossibly heavy-looking, pulling in light around it. Lyra inhaled sharply. "That is the memory seed. It holds all final records of the old ones." Evan stepped closer. "You mean their last message?" Lyra nodded. "And maybe their last warning." The table began to glow under Evan's presence. Lines formed into shapes into scenes. The chamber projected the past like a living memory. The first truth, a peaceful world. Tall silver-skinned beings building cities of light. Their technology looked alive, flowing, breathing, growing. Lyra whispered, "These were the ancients. My people call them the first minds." Evan watched as the ancients worked around a huge blue vortex. The gate. Then something went wrong. The vortex twisted violently. Black cracks spread through the sky. Something crawled out. Something huge, shapeless, made of shadow and hunger. A creature whose eyes looked like holes in the world itself. Evan stepped back. That thing looks like the one chasing us." Lyra shook her head slowly. "No, that is one of the eaters. They do not chase. They consume worlds." The vision showed the ancients sealing the vortex, trapping the eaters on the other side. A giant barrier formed, powered by symbols that glowed like stars. Lyra whispered, "They created the barrier to protect every living world, even ones not born yet." Evan felt cold. "And the gate we saw is part of that old barrier," Lyra finished. "And now something's broken it. The second truth." The scene changed. The ancients were older now, weaker, their cities fading, their bodies dim. One stood in front of the others, raising a glowing artifact shaped like a hand and star, the same symbol Evan saw earlier. "What is that?" Evan asked. Lyra's eyes widened. "It is the key mark." The ancient placed a mark into a machine. Then the vision showed something shocking. A human, not one from Earth's future. Someone from Earth's distant past, wearing primitive clothes, confused and scared. The ancient spoke to him gently, placing their glowing hands on his shoulders. Evan's heart pounded. Humans existed back then? "No," Lyra whispered. This is before your history. Before your world even knew itself. The ancients chose humans. They trusted humans. But why? The vision showed the answer. Humans had something rare, a spark in their minds that resisted the eater's corruption, a type of free will that confused the darkness. Evan took a step back. "So humans were chosen to defend the barrier?" Lyra nodded. "The ancients gave the key mark to your kind. They placed it in your bloodline, waiting for the day it would be needed." Evan stared at his own hands. "That's impossible." But the chamber answered for him. The black orb flashed, projecting a final symbol. A human silhouette, holding a small glowing child with silver skin. Evan gasped. That looks like us, Lyra whispered. The third truth. The memory shifted suddenly. A final ancient woman appeared, glowing brighter than the rest, speaking with urgent fear. The barrier will weaken in the far future, and only the human key and the child of light together can close it again. The image flickered violently, as if the memory itself was dying. Protect the child. Do not let the eaters reach her. They will hunt her for her gift. Evan breathed fast. You're the child of light. Lyra nodded, her voice barely a whisper. And you are the human key. Before Evan could speak, the chamber shook violently. Dust fell from the ceiling. Symbols flickered. Lyra grabbed Evan's arm, panic rising in her eyes. The creature, it has found a way into the pillar. A thunderous impact hit the walls. Metal screamed. Lights exploded. Evan picked Lyra up, holding her tight. Where do we go? Lyra pointed to a glowing door forming behind them. That way. It leads to a hidden exit. The chamber lights suddenly dimmed. A final message echoed in the air. If the eater enters, run. Evan didn't wait. He ran, holding Lyra, holding the future, with a monster breaking into an ancient world behind them. The ancient chamber shook like the bones of the world were cracking. Evan held Lyra against his chest and ran toward the glowing door forming behind them. Every step felt heavier as the metal walls bent and groaned under the force of the creature trying to break in. Lyra squeezed Evan's shirt tightly. It is learning, she whispered. It is copying the gate. It is trying to rewrite the rules. Evan wanted to ask what that meant, but another thunderous impact hit the wall behind them. Boom. Crack. A line of black light spread across the metal like a spiderweb. The eater was close. Too close. The door finally slid open, a circular tunnel of shifting silver plates. Without thinking, Evan jumped inside. The door sealed behind him instantly, muting the creature's roar. The tunnel moved on its own. The plates rearranged like they were alive, forming a smooth path ahead. The walls glowed with soft white light, as if guiding them. Lyra breathed shakily. The old ones made safe routes to escape their own mistakes. Evan kept running. Let's hope this route still works. The silent tunnels. The tunnel eventually opened into a narrow cave. Tall roots hung from the ceiling, glowing faint blue. The air smelled wet and old, like rain trapped for centuries. Evan slowed down, listening carefully. Silence. No growling. No shaking. Just the soft drip of water, falling from stone. Lyra touched the cave wall. This place is under the forest. The creature cannot smell us here. Not yet. That's comforting, Evan muttered, catching his breath. Lyra gave a tiny smile, then her expression shifted, her eyes focusing on something deeper in the cave. We are not safe. The eater is not the only hunter. Evan's heart clenched. What else? Lyra closed her eyes, listening. There are shadows in these tunnels, the old guardians. They were made to stop anything that tried to escape the gate. Even us. Evan asked, if they think we are part of the danger, yes. Great, Evan thought. Now the planet itself wanted to kill them. The first hunter. They walked deeper into the cave until the ground became smooth stone. Strange shapes appeared on the walls. Long lines, swirling symbols, handprints too large for any human. Lyra stopped. Evan, something is watching us. Evan pointed his flashlight forward. At first, nothing. Then the shadows shifted. A tall figure stood at the far end of the tunnel. Motionless. Silent. As if carved from darkness. Evan froze. What is that? A warden, Lyra whispered. They protect the ancient places. The warden stepped forward, its body making no sound. It had no face, only a mask of smooth black stone with a single glowing circle at the center, like an eye without a pupil. Evan stepped in front of Lyra instinctively. Stay behind me. The warden raised its arm. The glowing circle flashed. A pulse of energy shot out so fast, Evan barely saw it. He braced himself, but the pulse stopped midair, froze, hung like a trapped bubble of light. Lyra was holding out her hand, eyes glowing bright blue. The warden tilted its head, studying her. Another pulse formed. Lyra's voice shook. This one, he thinks we are intruders. Then we need to convince it otherwise, Evan said. Lyra lowered her hand slowly. The frozen energy dissolved like dust. The warden walked toward them, slow, heavy, each step echoing like a falling hammer. Evan grabbed a rock, useless but something. The warden stopped only 2 feet away. It stared at Lyra. Then it knelt. Evan blinked. What? Lyra stepped forward, surprised. He recognizes me. The warden lowered its head, the glowing circle dimming. He knows I am the child of light, Lyra whispered. He knows I am part of the key. Evan let out a breath of relief. For once, something on this planet isn't trying to kill us. A warning from the warden. The warden raised its arm again, but this time not to attack. It projected an image onto the cave wall. A rough animation formed. The gate glowing. The barrier cracking. A giant shadow creature crawling out. And then smaller creatures following behind it. Not just one. Not just the eater. Many. Evan's stomach dropped. They're multiplying? No, Lyra said weakly. They were always many. Only one escaped. But the others are getting stronger on the other side. Evan looked at her sharply. How long until they break through? Lyra touched the projection. The barrier will collapse completely soon. Maybe days. Maybe hours. Evan's fist clenched. And the only thing stopping them is us. Lyra nodded. The warden pointed deeper into the cave. A new symbol glowed. The Hearthfall chamber. Evan frowned. What is that? Lyra's eyes widened. The place where the ancients built the final lock. The true seal. The eater is trying to break into it. The warden lifted its arm again. A trail of glowing dust fell to ground, forming a clear path ahead. It wants us to go, Evan said. Yes, Lyra whispered. It wants us to stop what is coming. The warden stepped aside silently. Evan nodded to it with gratitude. Thank you. The warden didn't react, but the glowing circle flickered once, as if acknowledging him. Then it melted back into the shadows. The second hunter. Evan and Lyra followed the glowing trail deeper into the cave. The air grew colder, sharper. Strange clicking sounds echoed like teeth tapping stone. Lyra gripped Evan's hand. That is not the eater, she whispered. That is a smaller hunter. Smaller? Evan asked, as in less dangerous? Lyra shook her head. No, smaller as in faster. Before Evan could react, a sharp scream filled the tunnel. Something crawled across the ceiling at terrifying speed. Thin, long arms stretched out, claws scraping stone. Evan pulled Lyra behind him. The creature dropped from the ceiling. It was cat-like but wrong. Too many joints. Too many eyes. A mouth that opened sideways. Lyra gasped. A night runner. They hunt the ones who escaped the gate. It lunged. Evan grabbed a broken metal pole from the ground and swung with everything he had. The creature hissed, dodging fast, then jumped at Lyra. Evan grabbed it midair, slamming it into a wall. Stay away from her. The creature screeched, claws slicing Evan's arm. He ignored the pain and shoved the pole through its chest. The night runner thrashed, screamed, then fell still. Evan breathed hard. Lyra touched his bleeding arm, tears in her eyes. You protected me. Evan smiled weakly. I told you. I'm not letting anything hurt you. She pressed her small hand over his wound. Soft light glowed. The pain vanished. Evan stared in shock. You can heal. Only small wounds, Lyra whispered. My mother taught me. Evan touched her shoulder gently. Thank you. Lyra smiled faintly. You saved me first. The path ahead. They reached a massive stone door carved with strange symbols of fire and wings. Lyra stepped forward, voice trembling with awe. The Hearthfall chamber, the final lock. Evan looked at her. And inside is the only way to stop the eaters? Yes, Lyra said. And the eater knows this place too. A deep, distant roar answered her words. Closer now. Much closer. Evan took her hand firmly. Then let's finish this. The door began to glow and opened. The stone door of the Hearthfall chamber opened with a deep, echoing sigh, like an ancient giant breathing out after 1,000 years of sleep. A warm orange light poured from inside, painting the cave walls with soft flames. Evan stepped forward slowly, keeping Lyra close to the side. The moment they entered, the door sealed behind them with a heavy thud. The chamber was huge, bigger than the old forest clearing, bigger than the memory room. The floor was made of black stone, smooth as glass. High above them, a swirling ring of fire-like energy moved in silent circles. Giant pillars carved with glowing symbols stood in a perfect pattern around the center. In the middle of the room stood a floating structure shaped like a half-open flower, made of metal and light. Lyra whispered, "This is the final lock, the place that can close the gate forever." Evan stared at it, "And we just need to activate it." Lyra shook her head. "No, two beings must activate it. One from the ancients, one from humans. That is why the ancients chose our bloodlines." Evan touched the floating metal gently. It pulsed under his fingers like a heartbeat. "But how?" he asked. "How do I activate something made by beings thousands of years older than us?" Lyra stepped beside him. "You touch it, I guide you." Before Evan could answer, the entire room trembled. A low growl echoed from the walls. The eater was near, too near. The ground vibrated again, this time sharper, faster. Lyra's voice tightened. "It has found the lower tunnels. It is trying to break in." Evan grabbed her hand. "Then we need to hurry. Tell me what to do." Lyra placed her palm on the center of the lock. The metal responded instantly, forming two hand-shaped patterns, one large, one small. "One is for me," she whispered. "The other is for you." Evan took a breath. "Let's do it." They both placed their hands on the patterns. Instantly, the entire chamber lit up. Pillars erupted with white fire. Symbols raced along the walls. The swirling ring above spun so fast it became a bright halo. Evan felt energy move into his arm, up his chest, into his mind. Not painful, but powerful, like holding lightning that didn't burn. Lyra gasped softly, her eyes shining bright blue. But then, a crack appeared in the wall. A claw punched through. The eater had reached them. A second claw. A third. The wall tore open like paper. The creature stepped in. It was larger than before. Black mist wrapped around its body like smoke alive. Its eyes were not eyes, just two burning holes in space. Lyra screamed. Evan shielded her. But the creature didn't strike. It looked straight at Lyra, not with hunger, but with recognition. Lyra whispered, trembling, "It knows me. It remembers me." "How?" Evan asked. Lyra's face went pale. "Because I was born near the gate. Some of them touched my mind before the barrier closed. They marked me. They think I belong to them." The eater stepped forward. Lyra backed up in fear. Evan stepped between them. Fists tight. "You're not taking her." The creature tilted its head and spoke. Not in words. Not in language. But in a horrible whisper inside their minds. "Child, return. The barrier falls. You are ours." Lyra shook violently. "Evan, I can't fight its voice." Evan grabbed her shoulders. "Look at me. Only me. You're not theirs. You're with me." The eater roared, furious, the chamber shaking. But something else shook too. The floating lock reacted to Lyra's fear. Its lights flickered. Its energy weakened. Lyra gasped. "If the lock fails, the gate will burst open. All the eaters will come through." Evan pulled her closer. "Then we stop it." The creature leapt forward, but mid-air it froze. Something held it. Something stronger than the chamber. A rift opened near the ceiling. A tall shape stepped out, glowing like white fire. A woman, tall, silver-skinned, hair like bright mist. Lyra's breath stopped. "Mom." The woman floated down gently, landing between them and the creature. Her presence felt like warmth after a long frozen night, but her body flickered, like she wasn't fully real. She turned to Lyra, voice soft and broken. "My child, I'm so sorry. I tried to hold the barrier, but something followed me." Lyra's eyes filled with tears. "You came back?" "I always would. her mother said. But I am not whole. I am only a memory, held together by the gate's dying energy. Evan realized with shock. She wasn't alive. She wasn't dead. She was something in between. The mother faced the eater. You dare touch my daughter? The creature screeched, stepping back. But the mother staggered, her body flickering again. She didn't have much time. Evan, she said, turning to him. He froze. She knew his name. You are the key. You were chosen long before you were born, as all human protectors were. Evan swallowed. What do I do? She placed her hand over his. Even though she was only half real, he felt her warmth. You are stronger than you know. Humans always were. The lock behind them lit again. Stronger, brighter. Lyra will guide your mind, her mother said. You will give the lock your strength. Together, you can close the barrier. The chamber trembled violently. The eater tried to lunge, but the mother blocked it, her body glowing bright white. Evan grabbed Lyra's hand and placed it on the lock. Ready? He asked. Lyra nodded, tears falling. Yes, let's finish it. They pressed their hands down. Light exploded. White, blue, gold. A storm of energy rushing through them. The lock awakened fully. The chamber shook like the planet was roaring. The mother turned one last time. My child, my light, remember who you are. Then she dissolved into pure light. Lyra screamed in heartbreak. The eater roared in rage. And the lock opened like a star being born. The hearth-fall chamber shook like a dying star. White gold light exploded from the final lock, swirling upward into the fiery ring above. Lyra held Evan's hand tightly as the power rushed through them both. Their bodies shook, but the chamber responded. Symbols glowed brighter. Pillars erupted with flame, and the air hummed with ancient power. Evan felt the whole world inside him. Lyra's voice echoed inside his mind, trembling but strong. Don't stop. The lock needs you. Keep going. But the eater didn't stop. Blinded but furious, it roared and charged straight at them. Its shape bent like smoke, claws dragging across the stone floor as it moved. The entire room darkened in its presence. Evan lifted one arm to shield Lyra. The creature crashed into an invisible wall of light that erupted around them. The shock wave threw sparks across the chamber. Lyra gasped, That wasn't me. Evan stared around. The room's energy had reacted to him, to his will, a human's will. Evan gritted his teeth. Let's finish this. The gate opens. But to what? The swirling halo above them exploded into a column of fire, reaching the chamber floor. It formed a giant sigil, a star inside a hand, glowing bright white. Lyra whispered, The symbol of the key. The lock reacted instantly. The air tore open behind it, a rift glowing blue and gold. Not like the corrupted gate in the forest. This one felt pure, alive. Evan stared into the swirling energy. Is that the barrier? Lyra nodded, voice shaking. Yes, the heart of it, the place between worlds. The eater screeched, recognizing the rift. It leapt forward again, desperate to stop them. But as it reached the sigil on the ground, its body cracked. Black steam rose from its skin. It shrieked in agony. Lyra's eyes widened. The sigil hurts it, because it cannot cross the place of humans. Evan stepped forward. Then we take it back where it came from. Lyra looked up at him, tears falling. You want to push it back? Evan's voice was steady. We're closing the barrier forever, right? Then the creature must be on the other side when it closes. Or else it stays here. Lyra's heart sank. That means one of us must go near the rift. The eater will follow. It needs living energy to pull itself through. Evan squeezed her hand gently. I'll go. Lyra froze. No, no, Evan, it's too dangerous. It's the only way, he said softly. You said it yourself. I'm the key. Humans break rules. Humans do impossible things. Lyra shook her head, terrified. I don't want you to go. I can't do this alone. Evan knelt in front of her. You won't be alone. You're stronger than you think. Your mother believed in you. And I do too. Her tears fell faster. But you saved me. You stayed with me. I I don't want to lose you too. Evan gently wiped her tears. You won't lose me. Not really. I'll be where your light is. And your light is everywhere. The final push. The chamber split open as the eater broke free of the sigil's edge, its shadow claws reaching toward them. Evan stood up and faced it. Hey! Over here. The creature turned its eyeless face toward him. Evan ran straight toward the rift. Evan! Lyra screamed. The eater leapt after him. A black tsunami of claws and smoke. Evan reached the edge of the rift just as the creature slammed into him. The impact threw both into the swirling energy. Cold, heat, light, darkness, voices, memories, worlds overlapping. Evan felt everything. Lyra's fear, her mother's love, the ancient's hope, the despair of worlds the eaters had consumed, and his own burning determination to protect the child he had come to love. The eater roared in rage, not at Evan, but at the barrier pulling it back. Evan pushed with all his strength. All right, monster, go home. His voice echoed in the rift like a storm. The creature slid backward, screaming as white light burned through it. Lyra's voice echoed from the chamber outside. Evan, please come back. He forced himself to stand in the swirling void. Close it, Lyra. No, she cried. I can't close it with you inside. Yes, you can, he whispered, because I believe in you, and you believe in me. The eater grabbed Evan's leg, dragging him deeper into the void. Evan kicked hard, freeing himself. Lyra, now! Lyra screamed in agony, but placed both hands on the final lock. Light exploded. The rift began to close. The eater shrieked as it was swallowed by the collapsing barrier. Evan felt his body being pulled backward, away from Lyra, away from the world. He looked back one last time to the shrinking doorway and saw Lyra, reaching for him, tears falling like shining stars. Goodbye, Lyra, Evan whispered. Grow strong. Be brave. The barrier sealed completely, with a sound like the universe taking a deep breath. White light filled everything. And then, silence. Afterlight. Lyra fell to her knees, sobbing. The chamber quieted. The lock dimmed softly, like a heartbeat slowing into peaceful rest. The pillars faded. The fire ring dissolved. The monster was gone. The barrier restored. But Evan, the chamber opened a final projection. A soft, warm glow. Evan's face appeared, calm, smiling. A recorded message? No, a memory echo. His voice was gentle. If you're seeing this, it means we did it. I'm okay. Just somewhere else. Somewhere safe. Lyra cried harder. Evan's echo continued. You're not alone, Lyra. You were never alone. You're the bravest kid I've ever met. And I'm proud of you. The echo faded like mist. And Lyra whispered into the empty chamber. I'll remember you always. She stood slowly, her eyes glowing brighter than ever. The forest outside began to shine gently. The ancient wardens bowed. The world felt lighter. Humanity had saved more than a planet. It saved a future. Lyra stepped out of the chamber, a child of light walking into a new dawn.